What's up, everybody? John from Old Running Farm here. Thanks for joining us. Now, you may see this pile of water bottles behind me and think, John, what's wrong? Are you thirsty? What's going on? What are you doing? What I'm doing today is we are going to tap some of our maple trees. If you watched our last video, we built a maple sap evaporator out of an old furnace something or other. And, when we first started looking into making maple syrup, we were hoping that when we moved to this new property, 40 acres, we would have a ton of sugar maple trees. Turns out we don't, but we do have a few, and there's some on my parents' property next door, so I might tap a couple there. So what we did is we were reusing some, water bottles. Most of these weren't even used. They were just frozen. So we disinfected them. Everything seems to be, okay to use. If it's okay to use for drinking water, it's got to be okay for storing sap for a little bit, right? So what we're going to do, we were able to get all of these for free. We were also able to get all of our taps for free. So what we have here, I'm just being a little careful because it's icy. So we have this kind of tap. So this is a plastic tap, obviously, and a, some kind of tube. So this is gonna go into the tree. So we actually have two maple trees right outside of our door. We have this giant one, and we have one right there. Maybe it's that one behind the tractor. I think it is. Anyway, it would have made things easier if I had identified all of our sugar maple trees before it turned to winter, because I guess you can tell from the bark that it's kind of shaggy and I guess dark, but you can also tell by the leaves. The leaves are very specific. They have, it's like the shape of your palm. Basically the Canadian flag, oddly enough, is the sugar maple leaf. So both this tree and that tree had those leaves, as well as one other over here, and then we have a couple down there. And they're all pretty big, so it should be good. I think I counted our containers. We have like 12 or 13, something like that. So I'm just gonna go through and show you guys what we're up to, and hopefully we'll get some sap out of this. Let's get going. All right, so this is my first ever tapping of a sugar maple tree. So I have my drill bit on here, and I have my stuff down below, as you can see. So I'm just picking a spot that is like tall enough that my tap can actually reach it. And then when I drill into the tree, I'm going to do it on a slight upward angle. And so I guess what's going to happen is this next week, it's going to be in the 40s during the day and then freezing overnight. And so the way I understand it is at night when it's freezing, the tree sends all of the sap down below underground. And then during the day when it's warm, it shoots all the sap up to all the branches and everything. So while it's going up, we're going to hopefully tap into a vein here, and then the sap is just going to drain right out. So I guess we'll also see, it's below freezing right now, but maybe when I poke into it, we'll get some sap. We'll see. Let's see what happens. All right, so apparently I messed up my first ever tapping. Here's take two. Let's see if I can spin this. There. Okay. It's funny, I was looking at this tree and wondering if these holes in it were like woodpecker or if they're old taps. I guess probably woodpecker. All right, so we'll go about there. Slight upward angle. There we go. You're supposed to use a rubber mallet. I don't have a rubber mallet, so. I think that'll do just fine. So we got this in here. No sap is flowing right now, but it's really cold out. It's been really cold all day, so. And since this tree is so large, I can put two taps on it. Most of the ones over here I can. So I'll probably put two on all of these. Let's keep going. All right, so this one is actually like right on the side of our house. It's pretty cool, so I'm going to do two taps on this one also, and hope for sap. All right, so this one's all done. As you can see, I put some tin foil over the opening just because I don't want any bark or bugs or bird poop, whatever, to fall into the containers, even though they have a small mouth. It's just one of those things, and we're gonna filter and strain it anyway, but this should help prevent, extra debris getting in there. All right, so this should do it for the maple trees up here. I'm gonna take a ride down, towards the chicken village, and I think we have a couple more down there. This sucker right here, we have wanted to tap this tree for the longest time. All this over here was originally going to be alpaca pasture, but because there are so many rocks and stumps and just such a grade over here, I don't know if you can really see it, but it goes from way up there. It's got to be at least 30-40 feet, and it comes down to where we are now. So there's a grade, there's a lot of rocks. It's just not great. I mean, you can even see the rocks. There's like, 4 inches of ice and snow here, and they're even sticking through. So we were talking about, pulling up all the rocks, maybe bringing in a bulldozer and having them level it a little bit. But instead of doing that, we decided to start working on an area way down over there past the chicken village to work on our alpaca pasture. But anyway, when we were cutting down trees in this area preparing for the alpaca pasture, that's why I'm talking about it, we got this tree. And you can also see we have this really big oak tree, which I love. And so we wanted to keep these 2 trees over here because that is so gigantic and because this was a sugar maple. So next up is going to be tapping this guy. And again, hoping for sap. All right, so this one right here, it's actually right near the chicken village. And this guy is a monster. Got to be at least 3 foot around. So I'm gonna put 3 on this guy and hope that he'll do us well. It's a big tree. Again, shaggy bark. So you can see sort of what I'm looking at. Now, if any of you out there are maple tree experts, feel free to correct me and tell me that what I have is actually not sugar maple. So this is our so this is the new area that we're gonna have for alpacas. So again, chicken village right over my shoulder. We did a video a little while ago about this area, and we have done a lot of work over here. Ross has been super helpful chipping up our brush piles. But anyway, so we're gonna come over this way, and you can see I have a bunch of downed trees over here. So over here last week, this was covered in snow, and I brought the tractor over here. So my plan with these logs here, because Ross is gonna use them for firewood most likely, so I cut down a whole bunch of trees, I limbed them up, and then I was gonna take my skidding chain and take them and then pull them over here so that we could then buck them up into log length, 10 or 12 feet or so, rather than doing it over here and then moving them one by one. And then I got over here with the tractor, I went and got the chain, and it turned out one of the front wheels, the tire came off the rim. Pain in the butt. So the next day I came down here with the truck and my heavy duty jack and all my tools and stuff like that, and I lost our keys, which turned out to be the only key for the truck. So it's like one of those things where I had it in my pocket, and I had gloves in my pocket, and I had the nuts in my pocket, and then at some point I was taking stuff out of my pockets, keys fell out. So that was down there for like a week, or maybe it was like 5 days, and then we had like 2 inches of rain and it was above 40. The snow thawed enough that I could go over there, and I actually found the keys, so that was good. So this is gonna be our alpaca pasture. And then over here, if you check out like our very first, I think it was our first video when we first bought this place, that scary Blair Witch shed over there is actually on the survey, which means it's basically grandfathered in, because the setbacks are, I think, like 20 feet from the side of our property, and that's like 5. So I think we're gonna plan on putting an alpaca barn over there near the chicken village, and then I think we're gonna we can take that down and put something new up in its footprint since it's grandfathered in, which is great. And I think we're gonna try to do like a 2-story hay storage, so that we have hay down here, hay up there. Anyway, so I'm gonna tap this tree, and then I have one more tap So I don't think there's anything back here. You know, if you take a look out there, it ends up turning into a lot of oak down that way. So I'm gonna tap this tree and then one more, and I think we'll call it a day. All right, guys, last tree is tapped. That is about it. So it's cold. I may do a little bit of splitting of firewood just because we need to get ready to have enough firewood to actually run it this weekend. But so thank you guys very much for watching this video. We really appreciate it. Please give us a like, leave us a comment, and let us know how I did. Again, if you guys know what you're doing with maple syrup and it looks like I'm doing something wrong, please let me know. This is our first time trying maple syrup, and you know, this is our first syrup run. Again, the weather's supposed to be good for a few days next week, so hopefully we can collect the sap and start boiling next weekend. If you have any tips, let me know. Thanks for watching.